day, everyone, and thank you for joining Zweig Group Media and the Zweig Letter exclusive interview series. With almost 25 years of continuous coverage of the design industry, the Zweig Letter is a constant in an ever-changing marketplace. We are bringing you some of the best and brightest minds that our industry has to offer. Today, I am pleased to welcome Will Schnier, CEO of Big Red Dog, based in Austin, Texas. Will, it's great to have you join us again. I believe this is the third time you've been on the Zweig Letter interview series. Why don't you tell the audience something very unique about your firm that is not proprietary information, but may not be common knowledge about Big Red Dog?
Probably the most unique aspect of our firm, and we're gonna be talking about brand building today, and culture contributes to your brand, but our firm is named after the nickname of one of our civil AutoCAD designers.
Yeah.
First name's Cliff, his nickname's the Big Red Dog. So very unique in that we're not named after myself and my two other co-founders in the company. We're not that alphabet soup company name that's so common in the engineering industry. So that's your first nugget of the day, that we named the firm. We turned the model on its head from day one and named the firm after one of our designers rather than the founding engineers.
I think that's that is absolutely great, and a lot of people would not realize that. So I think that's very cool. Thank you for sharing that little nugget of information. So first, I want to congratulate Big Red Dog for receiving a second Hot Firm Award at our annual Hot Firm event that just took place last month. This is October, so it took place in September in Phoenix at the Arizona Biltmore. And man, that is a tremendous achievement for a firm that is less than 8 years old. Today, on the heels of that and on the heels of those great awards, we're going to talk about brand building in the design industry and what you guys have done at Big Red Dog to distinguish yourselves from the competition. There are a number of ways that we could look at brand building, but I'd like to focus on 4 key areas. I'd like to talk about defining your brand. I'd like to talk about differentiating and positioning your brand, building and exposing your brand, and then we're going to try to end up with reviewing your brand. And granted, for our listening audience, this is a lot to take in, and I mean each one of these actually could be their own interview in terms of the information that could be shared. But this is going to be more of a Cliff Note version of brand building, if you will. For those of you that were in high school at a time when you had to read Macbeth or Shakespeare or any type of Shakespeare play, you didn't want to read the whole book. You got the Cliff Note version, and so this is going to be kind of the Cliff Note version of brand building in the design industry, and I think you'll find it helpful. So why don't we just jump right into this, Will? How have you defined the Big Red Dog brand?
For us, it really starts with our two most important ingredients in our branding mix, which is our very dedicated and talented team members and our exceptional and visionary clients. Mm-hmm. And those two aspects in our recipe really come together very well for us. And when we layer on top of that what we put forward as our value proposition on day one, which was complete construction plans, fair and transparent billing practices, and exceptional communication. We've been able to leverage those 3 things, our team members, our clients, and our value proposition, into a very memorable and unique brand that has proven to be the smartest thing that we've ever done when we started the company. I mentioned earlier on that we were named after one of our team members and not after the founders, although that team member is now a principal shareholder in the firm. But it really starts there. This brand, when we were 3 people, it was easy to say the brand started at the top. But as we've grown to over 100 people in less than 7 years, the brand really comes from all levels of our organization, and the brand promotion and the culture of the company. And all of that is really intertwined. I can't speak highly enough for the quality of individuals that we have here in this Austin office, mm-hmm. and our offices in Dallas and Houston and San Antonio. And those are all very unique cities with unique cultures unto themselves. that bring their own flavor to our brand and give us this kind of multicultural component to our brand, depending on where you're experiencing Big Red Dog. But at the end of the day, there are consistent threads that are woven throughout what we're doing. And those three things, it's team members, great clients, and a very, very sound value proposition that create the brand that we have today. Okay. And, we'll get into promotion, but we promote those three things in different ways also.
Okay. Well, yeah, and actually that kind of leads into my next question, which is, what have you done to differentiate and position the Big Red Dog brand?
We've done a lot. When we first started, a lot of people, thought we were way out of left field, and first you name yourself Big Red Dog, and then you're a millennial-led company. We have a young leadership team, which is very unique in the industry. Yeah. We were at Hot Firm 2 years in a row, and the first year I was definitely the youngest guy in the room, and I may not have been this past year, but I was certainly close.
Yeah.
But it starts with our mission statement, which is to make our clients more successful while we make the engineering business cool. And just a tongue-in-cheek addendum to that mission statement is that we've been stodge-free since 2009, which is the year that we started. So there's no stodginess here. We're making this business cool, and young engineers and engineers of all walks of life really want to be part of this brand and what we're building here. This is no cubicle farm. This is no traditional top-down organization. Once you're in the buildings that we occupy, everyone is treated as an equal around here, and so it really does start with our team members who drive that brand building process for us. Collectively, those team members are the shepherd of our flock, so to speak.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, as I'm listening to what you're saying, and granted, you are a young guy, under 35, that has started
just crossed 35.
Oh, you Randy. Did just cross. Okay, all right. Well, you're slowly getting there.
Early October.
That's still happy belated birthday.
Thank you.
Well, with that said, though, I mean, there are a lot of your peers that are out there in their early 30s that are either thinking about venturing out and starting on their own with their own venture, and what I mean in your minds when you first came out and started this, what was your biggest concern about dealing with an industry that is very well entrenched in terms of how they operate? And like you said, I mean, some things are, you hear these stories about stodginess, and Mark Zweig and I always joke, and he tells a great story about a firm where they were a bunch of older guys, and there's nothing wrong with age, and this is certainly not an ageist thing that I'm about to say, but there were a bunch of older guys sitting around contemplating another individual in the company, and we'll call him Eddie. And they were saying, well, Eddie's a good guy, and he's been with us for a while, and maybe it's time to make him a principal. And Mark is sitting in the room, and this is actually a true story. And Mark is like, well, who's Eddie? And so they point to another guy in the room, and Mark looks at him, and he said, how old is Eddie? And they were like, well, Eddie's 59. And Mark said, 59? And he said, well, you guys should be talking about an exit strategy, not a promotion strategy into a principalship. But I say that tongue in cheek because it does embody the mindset that you have found in this industry for a very long time. It's that you've got to put time in before anything will ever come to fruition for you. And I frankly, Will, I don't know that this next generation of engineers and architects are even going to have the patience for that. And I just wrote an article just the other day. Shameless plug for my writing in the Zweig letter, but I just wrote an article about the gig economy and whether or not it was coming for us in the design industry. My prediction is that it is, and that in the next few years we're actually going to see people, hiring teams of engineers and architects for specific projects that will come in and work with an organization that will be part of their culture for a determined period of time. and then we'll step away and maybe go do something else, or go, hike the Himalayas or climb Mount Kilimanjaro or do something cool like that. And then when another cool project comes about that they're interested in, they'll reinsert themselves into the workforce, do a great job at what they do,
That's right.
then go off and do something else. That we've never seen that before in the design industry. And I mean, I'm not a futurist, but I certainly do believe that type of mindset and that type of employee is coming for this design industry.
Well, you don't have to be a futurist too hard to see that has already been occurring.
Yeah.
For us, the things you just said, we've had guys, excellent project managers and team leaders that I started my career with, found themselves yearning for a new challenge and went and became photographers and mountain hiking guides and whitewater rafting guides, and they got that experience for themselves over the course of a number of years, and now they've come back into the industry.
Yeah.
This is, my grandfather worked, he was a union guy. He worked in one factory his whole life after the Marines, and my dad was a corporate guy, but he worked for one company his whole career before he retired. I'm on Big Red Dog's my third company. I was at Carter Burgess and Jacobs Engineering before we started the company, which was a great place to learn the business. But, you would be amazed at how many people with less than 5 years of experience submit their resumes that have 2-3 jobs on them already.
Right.
We
used to call those guys job hoppers back in the day, right?
They're not job hoppers now. That's the market
exactly.
we've got. And if an employer, in the case of Big Red Dog or anybody else who's in this industry, is not constantly offering a challenge and an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to improve their careers and climb that career ladder, this current workforce has exhibited zero loyalty in the traditional sense of the word and of the industry and of business in general. That doesn't mean that they're not incredibly talented and have the capacity to be incredibly loyal, but they need to feel like they're part of what you're doing and that they're contributing and getting rewarded for their contributions.
Right.
You're not going to get a 25-year-old kid to come in out of school and work for your firm for 30 years if he doesn't see that there are opportunities and mentorship opportunities and the opportunity to have his own proteges along the line happening. That is not the future, Randy. That is very much happening today. And I'm sympathetic to it because, we just talked about my age and my birthday. I'm the 1981. I'm year one of the millennial generation.
Right.
So I'm right there with them. If this thing ever makes me feel like I'm being held down, I might get wandering eyes. I'm joking. I'm not.
Yeah. No,
I'll change what we're doing.
Right.
But,
exactly.
If what was the famous Michael Jordan quote? I still am a child of the 80s and 90s, so Jordan's my guy.
Yeah.
If he said it, if I'm ever not improving, if I'm ever not getting better, that's when I'm going to retire. And he went from being able to fly through the air to having the deadliest fadeaway jumper in the league. And as soon as he lost his legs, he stopped improving, and he was out of his playing days.
Yeah.
He's obviously got a long way to go in terms of being a manager and owner of an NBA team, but he's got that runway to learn now. But I love that quote from Jordan about, if I ever stop improving and if I ever stop getting better, I got to do something else. And, that's your millennial mindset. That's your today's workforce, whether you're millennial or Generation Y or whatever generation it is. That's the mindset that they've got. What have you done for me lately is very much, a two-way street in today's business world.
Yeah. So, given that, and the one I want to kind of stay in this whole vein of not, because obviously a company builds their brand both for external factors when it comes to attracting new business, but then also brand building. You have to fundamentally be aware of how you build your brand to attract new talent to come to the firm, and you spoke to that. And certainly, certain types of individuals are going to be attracted to Big Red Dog for those very reasons. But can you speak just a little bit to how you guys are purposefully and intentionally building and exposing the Big Red Dog brand and what that looks like. I mean, what the efforts that you're taking to do that with the mindset that not only are you trying to expand things to entice or to encourage those that might want to come work with you to come work with you, but then you're also trying to encourage those out there in the community that you serve to want to do business with you.
That's a great question. I mean, I could proceed on that question, for more time than anyone would ever want to listen to this podcast. It's something I'm passionate about. But doing good work for the clients that you're fortunate enough to have today has got to be the foundational cornerstone of what you're doing. No one's going to be happy if the client's unhappy. Right. Whether you're the CEO of the company or the newest EIT in the door. Mm-hmm. If the client's not becoming more successful by our efforts, there is no brand to be built. There's no brand to be nurtured. So it has to start with what the term we use is raving fans. We have to turn our current clients into raving fans. Effectively, those raving fans are walking marketing plans. They're free salespeople for your company and your brand. And those happy clients, they become the fulcrum, so to speak, an engineering term, a physics term. Happy clients are the fulcrum on, which you place your brand building lever. Okay. The fulcrum itself doesn't do anything. But as soon as you put a lever on a fulcrum, the lever provides the leverage to take those client experiences and employment experiences to the next level and really create something that's powerful, and it becomes a snowball. It starts small, and as you roll it through the snow, it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger. It equated to a flywheel theory, which I've talked about previously internally here at Big Red Dog. You have a big old flywheel, you have to push on it slowly, and get it moving. But if you consistently are pushing on that flywheel and really get its momentum going and going and going, it'll be spinning, so incredibly fast that you take your hands off of it, and it can be spinning for days or weeks or even years. Right. Think about your exercise bike. So that happy clients and that fulcrum and lever theory or flywheel theory, however you want to look at it, is really the cornerstone to building a brand. And our business model is designed to create those raving fan clients. And once they're happy, those raving fan clients force prospective clients and prospective employees, who we term team members rather than employees, because they very much are a team member. They force those prospect team members and clients through what we call our Big Red Dog filter. Mm-hmm. And our this Big Red Dog filter, I'll tell you a little bit about it, but it's almost proprietary, internal here at a Big Red Dog. So I'm not going to expose all the details.
That's fine.
I brought my business plan here. We got a full business plan, and about 5 or 6 pages are dedicated to that Big Red Dog filter concept. Okay. But in conceptual terms, that filter is the screen through which we want every prospective client and team member to pass before they actually meet any of our team, or before a client comes in and talks about their project. Mm-hmm. We don't want anybody to cold call us or just submit their resume because we happen to be an engineering firm who can scratch their itch. Right. When that type of thing starts happening, you become a commodity, and the minute you're commoditized, the minute your brand starts to get diminished. In this industry, you cannot be commoditized in order to have the best people and the best clients. Right. If you're commoditized, you compete on price, which is a race to the bottom. Right. So we want team members and clients to know who Big Red Dog is before they meet with any one of our people, or before they come in and visit with us about a project or a job opportunity. And through that Big Red Dog filter, they know that they need to be working with us, either in the capacity of a client or a team member, mm-hmm. Before they hit that first point of human-to-human contact. I'll give a plug to you guys, Randy. We work with Zweig Group on a consulting basis, and Mark and Chad and Jamie Claire over there have worked wonders for us and giving me as a young CEO a lot of good guidance, and our team a lot of great feedback and ideas. But that doesn't mean we always agree, and it kind of chaps Mark when I start comparing our professional services business to a traditional widget type business.
Right.
But Apple computer, I assume you're using a MacBook laptop. I see all your other people carrying around MacBooks.
I got my new iPhone 7 Plus right here.
Your iPhone 7. Don't get a Samsung 7.
No.
You can't fly with that.
You can't.
But Apple's a hell of a company to emulate, whether you're a professional services firm or a tech firm. I'll give you a good example of that. You have your fancy iPhone. I've got my iPhone here. I've got my MacBook here. Those things are not cheap.
No.
But when you're shopping for a new computer or you're shopping for a new phone, you don't consider that there's a $500 laptop out there. You get the $3,000 Apple. You don't consider that there's a $50 flip phone out there that you can get, or a free phone you can get. You go get the $600 iPhone. That's the power of the Apple brand. The price that they charge has been removed from the equation. Yeah. People want Apple because it's the best. It has a certain cachet. It gets the job done better than anything else out there. It never breaks down, doesn't catch viruses. It makes you more productive and better as a user of their product. So think about that in terms of the filter I just described. That filter that Apple has created is so powerful that people walk into an Apple store knowing that they're going to spend a lot of money on the product that they want, when they could go down to Best Buy and get you a Dell or an HP laptop for $300 or $500. Right. They still get the MacBook, whether they pay cash or finance the thing. Yeah. They're getting the best there is, and that's really boils down to what we're trying to create with this big red dog filter. Prospective clients and existing clients are getting the Cadillac of the industry. Team members are getting to join the most progressive and the most fun team in the industry and get to work on those cool projects that these visionary clients of ours have that we're making more successful along the way.
Yeah.
So it goes back to our mission statement. We're making our clients more successful while we make this business cool. And we do that through the raving fans, through the putting a lever on the fulcrum that is the raving fans, making these groups of people pass through our filter. And then it becomes a cycle, a repetitive cycle. More people pass through the filter, more clients and team members come in. The better we perform for our clients, the more raving fans, the bigger the fulcrum and lever, the wider the filter and more effective the filter. So when you talk about how to build a brand from the ground up, there are individual things you can do, but that's the global concept that we're talking about right there. And never letting up. That's the thing. Building a brand is not a 2-hour exercise around a conference table. It's not a one-day exercise or a one-week retreat. It is a constant, everyday thing, perpetual thing that just like you're running a exercise bike or flywheel, you got to constantly be pushing on that brand building process.
Yeah. And I'm glad you mentioned that. Do you guys, and again, because we're all human beings here, do you ever lose steam when it comes to trying to build that brand process?
Oh yeah, we're all human. We're not infallible.
Right. How do you deal with that?
I would not suggest to you or be so naive as a CEO to think that 100% of our clients are walking marketing plans and raving fans.
Right.
But what that is an opportunity. Your dad, my dad, my dad always had a saying, Will, you got to learn how to make good decisions. And, Dad, how do I learn how to make good decisions? You make a few bad ones and get corrected.
That's right.
That's what college is all about.
Yeah, exactly.
So those are tremendous opportunities to use them as a teaching moment internally to our team. They're tremendous opportunities externally to admit to the client that we haven't performed the way that we told you we would, and a chance to step up and admit that the communication hasn't been what it's needed to be, that the quality of the plans haven't been what they need to be, and tell them the things that we know are true so that they don't have to tell us. They don't think that we're naive to the realities of the situation. And not only are we humans and not infallible in that regard, But we're in Austin, Texas, and Dallas, Texas, and Houston, Texas, and San Antonio, Texas. This is the hottest market in the country. Yeah. There is more capital down here and more projects down here than there are engineers and developers to do it. So not only are the developers stretched thin, they don't have the resources to adequately staff their own projects, but they realize that this consultant industry, the engineers, the architects, the land planners, the landscape architects, they're equally stretched thin, and everybody's busting their hump to get things done. And there are going to be, in this market, there's 10 balls up in the air, and once in a while there's 2 or 3 sitting on the ground that you got to go back and pick up. But
right.
I tell my team all the time when they're getting worn down, we're blessed to be in this Texas market and an economy like this. These are gold-plated problems that we've worked our butt off to have, and the alternative problem is being commoditized and not having anything to do or competing on price. And as long as you confront some of these failures that are unfortunately inevitable head on, it's an opportunity to teach your people what they did wrong.
Right.
Otherwise, you're going to be inventing errors to try to teach them, and an opportunity to strengthen your relationship with your clients. One of my best clients, the only claim we've ever had in the history of the company, I was the engineer for. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even one of the 100 people behind me. It was my mistake, and I called him up and said, "Hey, we got a problem here. This grading is not right. I got to fix it. We got to pull off the construction team, and I got to get you a new plan, and I'm going to pay for it, and we're going to work this out." And he had consultants. He's been in this business 30 years. He had consultants screw up plans all over the place and deny it and point fingers and say it wasn't his problem. And he said, "Man, Will, I've never had anybody call me proactively before I knew I had a problem and tell me I got a problem and that he's going to fix it and pay for it." And, ultimately, he agreed to split the cost out of the goodness of his heart. And, and we've now done 24 more deals with him. And, as long as we keep that that ethical relationship and that mindset intact, he's a client and a friend for life. And that cannot be overlooked. Yeah. So those are when hiccups happen in terms of delivering on your brand proposition, those are also tremendous opportunities for a company.
Absolutely.
That cannot be understated. It's people are not perfect, projects are not perfect, site conditions are not perfect, city review processes are not perfect. Mm-hmm. It's how you adapt to those and step up to the challenge and respond. That starts to distinguish your culture and your company and ultimately what you're building as a brand.
Right. Well, yeah, I mean you said a mouthful for sure. And given all of what you just described about, what you've done to build and expose the Big Red Dog brand, how do you review things that you guys are doing from a branding perspective, and how do you look at the Big Red Dog brand with an eye towards measuring the growth of the brand itself?
This is a great debate internally. We would love to have financial metrics beyond top-line revenue growth and profitability growth and headcount growth and client list growth. But so much of building a brand is rooted in those end numbers. Mm-hmm. I would love to have some lower level metrics to know that the brand building is working, but at the end of the day, I'm a natural marketer myself. The top 10 people in our company are tremendous marketers and brand builders, mm-hmm. And then the people below them do tremendous work to even throw more fuel on the fire. But it's gut feeling. Are our clients happy for us? Are our employees and team members happy for us? Are they excited about what we're doing? What are our competitors doing to react to the success that we're having and the marketing things that we're doing and the brand building things that we're doing? And I hit on it earlier, and we talked about it in one of our previous 2 podcasts that you and I have done. Mm-hmm. We were scoffed at when we started.
Yeah.
Social media was not used in this industry. Blogs were not used in this industry. So we're 7 years into this thing. 3-4 years ago, we started companies have blogs showing up on their websites and trying to make a go of it there. And then, 2 or 3 years ago, social media became all the rage. And now there are, engineering firms out there who employ professionals full time in their organization to just do social media.
Right.
To me, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Everyone in our office can have
Come a
keys
long
to
way.
the social media account.
Yeah.
You're all responsible for it. I don't need to employ someone separately to just play on Twitter and Facebook all day.
Right.
That's not the marketing department's responsibility. Just like keeping clients happy is not, the project manager's sole responsibility. We're all responsible for these things. And I think that's part of being an entrepreneurial organization is everyone is responsible for finding ways to increase our brand presence in the market and our brand awareness. So gut feeling, excitement in the industry, how competitors are changing what they're doing to keep up with us. I'd like to think that we're very forward thinking. If it was up to me, I'd redo our website every quarter to come up with a better website. But,
right.
there's a lot of other things that need to be worked on and improved in any organization than just having a snazzy website. But it's like I said earlier on the flywheel concept. You got to constantly be pushing on it and evaluating it and making it better. It's not something that you say is done and then you rest on your laurels. So it's a perpetual evaluation and a perpetual self-criticism of what we're doing, and really a gut feel of how it's performing.
Okay. Well, man, wow. That's almost like a mini business class on branding itself. I mean, there's just so much information that you shared, and we certainly appreciate your transparency and the journey that Big Red Dog is taking to be great and to do great things, both for internally for your employees, but for your team members as well as for the clients that you work with. So we really appreciate just you sharing that, because I think it's some very helpful information. We want to do something a little different here with the TZL interview series. We're kind of switching things up, and I didn't mention this to you before, but
you're going to put me on the spot.
I'm going to put you on the spot. And
that's okay. I'm used to it.
Before we close out, we want to go a little deeper for our audience and learn who the real Will Schnier is.
All right.
We have a couple of simple questions that we'll end our interview with, and hopefully we'll have some fun in the process. What was the last book that you read?
The last book that I read, I read everything I can get my hands on. The last book I read was the last John Grisham book that came out.
Okay.
The last business book that I've sunk my teeth into, and I've read a whole lot of them, would be probably Let My People Go Surfing by the founder of Patagonia.
Okay. Yeah.
Great company, great CEO.
Absolutely.
Culture, great culture.
Yeah.
So Let My People Go Surfing.
Okay.
I think he's got a French name, but his last name is Chouinard.
Yes,
the Patagonia founder is a great one to read.
Yeah, really, really good story. They have a great story as a company. So now basically they were built on basically his passion for being in the outdoors and doing some amazing stuff. So
I should also tell you, Randy, management A to Zweig never leaves my coffee table. It's a thick tome. It's not something you just sit down and read, or you'll never actually grasp anything.
Exactly.
You read one or two of those a week, and you're in business.
You're good. You're good to go.
You can find it on zweiggroup.com.
Exactly. Another shameless plug. We appreciate
Buy
that.
It. It's good.
Thank you so much. So now this next
golden nuggets, there's tons of them in that book.
That's true. This next question, I think I may know the answer to, but where did you go on your last vacation?
Phoenix.
Okay.
Phoenix, Arizona. Stayed at the lovely Biltmore Hotel.
Right.
My wife and I went out there, and we had a great time, and picked up the Hot Firm Award while we were out there, and really enjoyed it. My wife and I are expecting our second child in about 2 weeks here.
That's exciting.
So that was our last last
trip.
vacation before the baby arrives.
Exactly. Well, that's awesome. That is awesome. So this time next year, when I ask you where did you go on your last vacation, hopefully you'll say
Seattle.
Seattle, right? So we'll see. We'll see
We
how that
already
goes.
talked to Grandma about
Yeah.
babysitting
There
that
you go.
weekend.
Get it
We're
lined
in
up.
for
Get it
that.
lined up now. So now, if you could binge watch one TV series, old or new, what would it be?
New one would be Shark Tank.
Okay.
I'm a business guy through and through.
Yeah.
Old one would be Boston Legal.
Oh, okay. That's
I'm a big Denny Crane.
Yeah. Me too. Me too. Okay, that's very cool.
Those guys are great. Both of those shows are
Both of
great.
those shows. Yeah. Do you watch The Prophet by any chance?
I do.
Okay, yeah.
Marcus Lemoyne.
Yeah, I love that show.
He's great too.
Yeah, he is.
He's got to stay away from my office. Chad and Jamie Clare do a good enough job of
I know.
Prophet.
Exactly. Well, he only helps people out that he actually physically invests in. So that would be unless you're putting out some Series B fundraising, then it wouldn't be possible.
No need for that now.
Yeah, no, for sure. So, Will, I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us on the Zweig Letter interview series. I'm sure we'll find time to get you on the show again in the near future. And I think that idea that we have of maybe doing a up and coming engineers and architects show for the budding business owner that may be kind of stuck where they are, but wants to kind of step out like you did in '09 and get something going. I mean, they could have their own big red dog on their hands, and it would be great to have more firms like yours out there. I think it would make the marketplace a little more fun. It certainly would create some competition, but I think it would be healthy competition. And I think some great, amazing projects would get done in the process. So we'll have to talk more about how we expand that, because while this is the third time that we've had a chance to get together, I'm sure it will not be the last.
Oh, no, this is too much fun.
Yeah, no.
I could talk to you all day, Randy. We got to make it a series anyway.
Absolutely. So, well, listen, folks, as a reminder, all Zweig Group media programs like this one are available in both podcast and video format, free for download on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and YouTube, just to name a few places. We'd like to thank you for watching this in video or listening to the podcast by offering you a free 6-week subscription to the Zweig Letter. Just visit freetzl.zweiggroup.com. That's freetzl.zweiggroup.com. A link to all of this information will be in our show notes. And we would love it if you would share this link with a friend. And also, if you're listening to the podcast on iTunes, please give us a 5-star rating when you have a chance. I'm Randy Wilburn, and you've been listening to Zweig Group Media, part of Zweig Group. Remember, we exist to make you more successful. Bye for now.